adversaries.
Let me ask one last question. Given the news that came out last night about Texas and Mississippi, the president was in Texas, met with Governor Abbott just a matter of days ago. They have now, in both of those states, removed their mask mandates, and they are reopening at 100%, even as this White House says now is not the time for that. How do you characterize those decisions, and what do you say to the governors of those two states that are making them?
Well, first, the president's position on mask wearing is based on the recommendations of health and medical experts and their views that it could save 50,000 lives. That is why he asked the American people to wear masks for 100 days. For nearly a year, we've been dealing and navigating and coping with this pandemic across the country. And this entire country has paid the price for political leaders who ignored the science when it comes to the pandemic. We talked a little bit yesterday about how people are starting to feel a little bit better in some cases. You go to the grocery store and there's Clorox wipes available, and a year into this, that feels better, but there's still more work that needs to be done. We need to remain vigilant, and he believes that, and he's hopeful, that people in these states will continue to follow the guidelines that have been set out and the recommendations made by health and medical experts.
Go ahead. Jen, thank you. I have several questions about teachers getting vaccinated, but to follow up on Peter first, does President Biden plan to speak to the governors to have them reconsider their orders? And secondly, what are people in those states supposed to do if they're confused about whether to listen to their governor or the president?
Well, first, I would say we're not asking people just to listen to the president. Of course, we recommend that, but we're asking people to listen to health experts, medical experts, the CDC, to Dr. Fauci, to others who are basing their recommendations on how to save people's lives. That's what we're asking people to do. The president's view is well known. We all know it quite well about why mask wearing is important, again, based on health and medical experts. He speaks with governors of both parties on a regular basis. He obviously traveled with the governor last Friday, and I'm sure he will raise this at the next opportunity he has.
On the president's goal to vaccinate educators by the end of this month, last month you made it very clear that, as you well know, it's up to states to determine how to prioritize vaccines. And you reminded us that even though there are federal recommendations, the process is not to mandate states to prioritize anyone. What has changed between then and now, and what power does President Biden have to direct states to prioritize teachers?
Well, first, 30 states are already doing this. So that is the majority of states in the country who are treating teachers as essential workers. And that's what the president is asking, what he is recommending. We, of course, right now, the teachers will have access through pharmacies. That is, the supply that goes to pharmacies is through the federal supply. And so that is an area where we can work through a program that we have instituted to ensure that teachers are prioritized.
So today you've said that he is challenging states, he's asking states, he's urging states, but yesterday the president said he is directing states. So is it just a firm request, or is he using some mechanism and authority to direct them?
Well, again, he is using a federal program that is distributing vaccines to pharmacies across the country to ensure that teachers are prioritized. It remains the same case it's been, where it is not a prerequisite for schools to open. It is one of the mitigation steps that can be taken for teachers to be vaccinated. But he believes that teachers should be treated as essential workers. There is, of course, the power of the bully pulpit. There is the power of the pharmacy program that the federal government is instituting. And certainly, as the president of the United States, the leader of the country, he is conveying this is important. It's not a Republican or a Democratic issue whether or not our kids are behind. We have all seen the impact on mental health. We've seen the impact on kids doing Zoom from their kitchen tables and kitchen counters. And everybody wants, if the president wants kids to be back in school, this is part of the effort to ease that.
One last question on the effort. You're using the federal pharmacy program, which was supposed to establish more equity, especially for communities of color. Dr. Celine Gounder has called the move to prioritize teachers anti-equity, since most teachers are white, and it's taking away from those people who are underserved. So what is the administration doing to make sure teachers and these people who are underserved will have the same access to vaccines?
Well, first, we simply disagree, and not just me or the president, but the head of our equity task force and our health and medical team, for a couple of reasons. One is it's critical to remember that the program is beyond teachers. It includes bus drivers, janitorial workers, childcare workers, a workforce that is broadly incredibly diverse. Second, getting kids back to school is one of the most equitable steps we can take, because what we've seen statistically is that Black and Latino students are disproportionately experiencing learning loss for a variety of reasons. Internet interconnectivity, parents who are disproportionately frontline workers, and this compounds the damaging effects of policies that already leave students of color with lower quality resources. So our view is actually that this step is one that is meant to help communities of color, help students who are already being disproportionately disadvantaged by schools being closed.